It is Monday. We are in for a week of storms. It is really dark out there. And Pope Francis made his transition this morning. So, yay. I don't know what to think. I remember, I was young when John Paul II came into office. And I remember how engaging and dynamic he was. And I don't remember who was after him. And I definitely didn't like the guy before Pope Francis. But Pope Francis was like John Paul. He was out among the people and did the whole, believed in the life of service. He was out there serving. And when, because both my husband and I were raised Catholic, and it was one of those things. It's like when you see ministers who love people versus ministers who love power, they serve differently. And Pope Francis definitely loved people. So Godspeed to wherever he is now. And I know that he will continue to serve. So, all right. We are doing Living the Science of Mind, which is a collection of essays that came out of his take-home course that was in the back of the Science of Mind magazine. You could send off for it, and then he would email it to you. So they're very personal. It actually definitely feels more like having a conversation with Ernest, like he's talking right to you. It's really cool. I don't know about the topic for today because it's what is religion? But we'll see what Ernest has to say about what is religion. So, yeah, okay. Let me get my feet under me. Metaphorically, let me get my feet underneath me. Let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. It just tells you what's going on for the week of the month. You get one email a week unless something unusual happens. And it is a blind CC, so nobody's going to get your email. And the hot links are out. If it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information or to the person that can help you get it. So that is pretty much, that's the housekeeping. Oh no, the other part is the social media. We do not monetize the social media. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do is go like, subscribe, share, follow, comment based on which platform you're on. The more you engage with our pages, it bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. So we appreciate that. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So please and thank you. All right, let's get on with this. Because we are in, I'm sorry. I said I was going to get my metaphorical feet underneath me, and I don't think I did. So today's title is What is Religion? It's not long, but it's not short. And the next title is What is Spirituality? So it's probably going to be a compare and contrast. And it's always interesting to get somebody else's idea of what it is. Ooh, just washes me right out. Okay. So, according to Ernest Holmes, in Living the Science of Mind, what is religion? Religion means our attitude towards God. This attitude is based on our concept of the relationship which exists between God, the universal spirit, and humanity, the individual spirit. If we believe that God is some far-off divine being from whom we are isolated, we shall give up in despair, or our entire endeavor will be seeking a reconciliation and reunion with this divine being. We are compelled to think of the Spirit as either apart from us or within us. And if God is apart from us rather than a part of us, our search will be to reunite ourselves with this divine source of our being. Moreover, in our search, we shall be laboring under the difficulty imposed by not knowing where to go or how to get there. But if we can conceive of the divine being as already existing within us, no search is necessary. Instead of a search, there is an unfoldment. Again, if we conceive of the divine being as separated from us, any communication must be across the void which separates us. From this viewpoint, prayers, petitions, or attempts at communication with the infinite must bridge some gap, cross some chasm, travel in some unknown direction with no certainty that they will reach their goal. Communion with the infinite is possible only on the supposition that the infinite is omnipresent, and, if omnipresent, at the center of our own being. All religions are attempts to interpret humanity's relationship with this indwelling and overarching infinite, with a spirit which fills all nature, all time, and all space with its presence. The purer the religion, the more completely it is approached an attitude of unity, a complete oneness between God and humanity. Jesus boldly declared, "He that hath seen me hath seen the Father." The purer the form of the religion, the more perfectly it has presented the idea of an indwelling presence which directly responds to our thoughts. The recognition that the Spirit thinks through our thought and expresses itself through our act must necessarily create an intimacy which makes divine communion more real and more beneficial than would any concept based on the thought of God as separate from our lives. A true religious concept is an indispensable aid in spiritual mind healing. The mental practitioner has a better chance of success when they believe in the indwelling spirit, when they believe that God's work is already accomplished and perfect, even though it is eternally unfolding. See, the good news there is that God isn't bound by time. We are temporarily bound by time when we are incarnate, when we are in body, but God is never bound by time. And that's one of the things that makes this work. Okay, back to the reading. Moreover, their words will have more power when they believe that they are power, and they endow them with power in such degree as they sense the divine presence back of them. This inner testimony of the soul is real and valid. Who could deny the artist the privilege of appreciating beauty? We all know that as a result of their sense of beauty, We all know that as a result of their sense of beauty, they create the beautiful, which is the object of art. We know that some artistic productions surpass others, and we recognize that back of them is a deep impression, a subjective feeling. We have not weighed or measured the reality which the artist contemplates, and yet we have evidence of it in their work. The mental science practitioner, whose mind is filled with spiritual awareness, will speak a more powerful word than the one who rests their claim solely on the law of cause and effect. The practitioner whose thought reaches the highest spiritual level will demonstrate that their word has the greatest power. The fact that the law of mind knows only how to obey and has no purpose of its own to execute demonstrates the proportion that a higher altitude of thought will find a corresponding higher level of manifestation, just as water will reach its own level by its own weight. It is in this sense that a true religious perspective is necessary to effect mental practice. The law, being a doer and not a knower, never acts of itself. It merely reacts. The word of spirit is the enforcement of this law. How can we expect a result to rise higher than its cause? It is self-evident that there is a coordinating spirit, and this coordinating spirit must have within itself a prototype or a perfect idea of every form. It's one of the things that I learned from Dr. Goswami. It's like there's a blueprint. And one of the things that we do in our spiritual practice is we go back and look at the spiritual blueprint, because the spiritual blueprint is perfect. And then we can make adjustments. All right. A deep underlying sense of the spiritual universe is necessary to the most effective form of mind healing. To the technical work of the mental practitioner, there should be added this deep spiritual sense of things. A subtle emanation of the spirit should flow through all the statement which they make, for every statement must be based on the proposition of one God, one person, and one universe. A spiritual system which is complete, divinely organized, spiritual not only in its origin, but also in its manifestation. That seems like a really important point. Like, just because it's, material doesn't mean it's not spiritual. So also in its manifestation. Important. I went and found my highlighter. Okay. The spiritual mind healer must learn to see God in their patient. Their conviction of this indwelling divinity must be more than intellectual. Gotta engage the feelings there, which is probably what he's about to say. Back to the reading. For there is a field of reality higher than the intellect, and it uses the intellect as its instrument. We should not decry the intellect, since it gives shape and form to this inner feeling. See, told you, feeling. But without the feeling, nothing comes into being. This has been referred to as the spirit and the letter of the law, and we have been told that the letter without the spirit does not quicken. Applied to mental healing, this means that the words we speak must have a deep meaning to us. We must sense that behind them there is a power seeking expression. So words are important. You want to use words that mean something to you. My friend Sharon, who's also a practitioner, loves words. She likes to use big words because they're meaningful to her. But if you don't like big words or don't want to use big words, you don't have to. You want to use the words that are meaningful to you, that evoke the feeling. Very, very, very important. Okay, back to the reading. This power is infinitely greater than our intellect. The intellect does it the best it can, but unless it is directed by the spirit, it finally succeeds in reaching only a gigantic negation, a complete denial of its own existence, a repudiation of the supreme fact of existence, which is the act of directly experiencing spirit. What? Okay. Meaning, your intellect will only get you so far before it kind of proves itself out of existence. That's what it sounded like to me. You could not convince one who has had such an experience that it was an illusion or a hallucination, for this inner testimony of the soul is valid to the one who has it. In other words, believe people when they tell you. It is just as much a part of them as there is their thought, and the proof of its reality is evidenced by the results which it has produced in the lives of those who have been more deeply sensitive to love, truth, and beauty. To come into closer daily contact with the supreme source of wisdom and illumination should be the earnest desire of every worker in this field. Appreciation of human experience will be quickened rather than retarded through the unity with this indwelling spirit. When a person learns to see God in everyone, they will become more spontaneous. They will feel a deep and abiding inner joy. I mean, look at the Dalai Lama, look at Pope Francis, look at Desmond Tutu. A deep inner joy. I like to watch the Dalai Lama laugh. Our spiritual experiences reach higher levels at some times than at others, and we should seek to bring the inspiration of these moments of illumination into our everyday living. If the philosophy of Christianity were lived, wars would cease, unhappiness would cease, economic problems would be solved, poverty would be wiped from the face of the earth, and humanity's inhumanity to humanity would be transmuted into a spiritual of mutual helpfulness. Whew. May I be alive to see the day. Although I don't know that I want to live that long. Ugh. Okay, hang on. Let me not speak that. Let me think about that before I speak that into. May it come sooner than later. That's what I want to say. Yes. Okay. This would not mean the reducing of all persons to one common level. We are all individuals in a cosmic wholeness. Each is a unique representation of the one and only mind and spirit. And since this mind and spirit is infinite, its capacity to individualize must likewise be without limit. Each may remain themselves while seeing God in the other. Each may remain themselves while seeing God in the other. That's a good one. The spiritual mind practitioner should always have a sense of this fundamental unity and should realize that it is continuously differentiating itself through each one of us. Each person becomes a unique manifestation of the whole, a microcosm within the macrocosm, rooted in the infinite. They personify it, some part of it, inseparable from it, remaining in it. They are still an individual. The paradox of the many and the one is explained not only on the basis of a God apart from people, but as on the basis of God incarnated in people. The religion of the spiritual mind healer must be one of unity and law. They must feel that they are one with spirit. Being one with this self-existent spirit, they must sense that they use the law. There is nothing arrogant about this, for they know that should such use be exercised on the behalf of duality, they themselves must experience the effect of the very dualism which they are attempting to project. The universe is foolproof, and the profane do not enter into the holy of holies. Interesting turn of phrase. Humility, reverence, and adoration are not to be confused with self-obliteration. We are not called upon to consider ourselves unholy. We are neither conceived in sin nor shapen in iniquity. Humanity's place in the creative order is as a dispenser of the divine gifts. I don't like this phrase, but I'm going to use it anyway. A husbandman of the indwelling Lord. Because I can't figure out how to make it not awkward. Okay. But basically, we are a dispenser of the divine gifts. Troward had another way of saying it. What did he? We are divine distributors. That's the way Troward says it. Yes, Troward had feet of clay, so I'm aware of this. But, occasionally you have to separate the wheat from the chaff. The morbidity which has come with the sense of isolation and separation from God must be healed if joy and laughter are to take the place of sorrow and tears. How can we believe in a weeping universe or a sad God or a melancholy first cause? Such concepts would contradict the fundamental necessity of reality, that God is a synonym for wholeness. Negation does not belong to the infinite, and being undivided, it is never separated from its own good. Oh, okay. Let me try that sentence again. I got thrown by the capital letter. Okay. Negation does not belong to the infinite, and being undivided, it is never separated from its own good. We must arrive at an abiding sense of our unity with good. Much that we have believed must be discarded, for we can never avoid the conclusion that with what judgment we have judged, by the same judgment we must ourselves be judged. Okay. That was a mouthful. The approach to reality must be simple, direct, and spontaneous. The secret place of the Most High is neither in the holy mountains of Samaria nor at Jerusalem. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And that was said by the master teacher. Super important to know, right? This kingdom is finished, complete, and perfect for eternity. But the manifestation of this kingdom is the eternal activity of right ideas, law, order, truth, and beauty. Humanity is given dominion in this kingdom by a fundamental necessity of their nature. It is impossible that this dominion should be withheld from them. There is no deific power which either withdraws from humanity or advances towards humanity. No more of God is in one place than in another, and in the place where humanity is, God is. And where humanity recognizes the divine presence, there the divine presence responds. Not some of it, but all of it. The communion of the soul with this overpresence is a natural act. To feel that a presence is greater than we are, is guiding us, is normal. To trust this presence is sanity. To desire that the divine eternal shall project itself through our thought is to be receptive to the greater side of our nature, which lies open to the upper reaches of thought. This is religion. Okay, and that's the way he ends it. This is religion. So what I'm going to remind you is that's Ernest Holmes' idea of religion. Because the next one is called spirituality. One of the definitions that I've seen is that religion is listening to other people's experiences and spirituality is having your own experiences. So we've got Ernest's idea of religion. Now we're going to get Ernest's idea. Well, tomorrow we'll get Ernest's idea of spirituality. All right, beloveds, I am going to wrap this up and encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, enchanted day, wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a go dance in the rain day, a watch out for the thunder and lightning day, a drink plenty of water day, a make some time for joy and laughter day, a don't be afraid of the tears day, a grief is proof that you loved day, a you got this day, a good day. And if that's too much pressure, because I know occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You're a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. I like to remind you that you're a beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. Yeah, I know, I copied it from somebody else, but still, it's true. All right, beloveds, get to know who the divine knows you to be. Explore the truth of your own being. When you get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good, it's all the divine knows. No, anything is possible. All right, beloveds, take care of yourself. Wait. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9 tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.